Chapter 2. The Battle with Python. Apollo was god of the sun, but he was not content. All that he had came from his father. He felt he must do something on his own. He must make a place for himself in the world of the gods, as a boy must do for himself in the world of men. Because Apollo gave light to the world, nothing could be hidden from him. His far-seeing eyes could see even things that were yet to be. Through this power, to know the future, he hoped to become the protector of mankind and to make a name as an oracle, a wise god of prophecy. But there already lived a creature calling itself Oracle. Now it had happened long ago, in the dim beginnings of time, that the gods became angry with mankind and sent floods to cover the earth. All living creatures drowned, except one man and one woman. When the floodwaters came down, the earth was covered with mud and ooze. Then the black mud moved. It bubbled and boiled. And from its slimy blackness there came a monster of a black snake. Its body was as thick as the body of a man and longer than the tallest tree is tall. It had an evil forked tongue and ugly red eyes half hidden by slimy gray-green lids. From head to tail it was covered with hard black scales made of iron. Because the snake came from deep in the earth, it knew the secrets of the earth and had a gift for prophecy. The monster made its home in the side of a mountain, at a place called Defani. There it told the future to those who were brave enough to come, or foolish enough. Because sometimes the snake's words were lying words, sometimes the advice it gave was evil. The monster was called Python the Oracle. Before Apollo could become the oracle, he must slay Python. So with his golden bow and arrows, he came to Delphino. Above the valley where Python lay, there was a cliff of shining rocks, half hidden now by the great black coils of the snake's body. On that cliff Apollo took his stand, and his golden light filled the valley. The snake blinked its red eyes in a sudden glare. It hissed, a horrible hiss, like a saw cutting through steel. The folds of its body began to coil and twist as it reared its ugly head. Then Apollo fitted an arrow to the string of his bow. He took aim, and he shot, straight at the monster's head. His aim was good. There was a ping as metal struck metal, but the arrow glanced off to fall harmless. So Apollo shot again. Arrow after arrow he shot at the snake's ugly head, as the snake's ugly head rose higher and higher. Finally, the head was almost as high as Apollo was. The red eyes looked into the clear eyes of the god. Steam hissed from the ugly mouth, but no arrows could find a weak spot in those iron scales. The arrows only made the creature angry. Then the snake coiled its body for attack. Tighter and tighter it drew its coil. Suddenly, like a spring let loose, it hurled itself through the air at the young god. When Apollo saw the thing coming, he jumped to one side, but quick as he was, the snake was quicker. Its iron head struck him with the force of a thunderbolt and threw him to the ground. His head hit a stone. The god lay there dazed. He felt the snake draw its iron coils around him. He felt the monster's body squeezing the breath from him. He saw the ugly head high above him. Its evil red eyes glared down at him. Then he saw the head start towards him, its forked tongue darting. With the last of its strength, Apollo fitted one more arrow to the string of his bow and aimed at one of those red eyes. From where he lay, held by the snake's coils, the eyes seemed to be the barest slit, but he knew it was his only hope. So he drew the bow back as best he could, and sent the arrow flying. And wonder of wonders, he saw the arrow go in. He had found the only soft spot on all of Python's body. The snake hissed its terrible hiss again. Its coils relaxed for a moment, and Apollo pulled himself free. Then the black body began to twist and thrash. The tail lashed at the god. It almost pulled him off the cliff. Apollo dropped his bow and jumped into the monster's back. With one arm around Python's neck, he held tight as the creature thrashed from side to side. With his other hand, he drove the arrow deeper and deeper into the snake's head. Black blood splashed on the rocks and on Apollo. Hiss after hiss filled the air. The snake's wild thrashing even made the mountains shake. Then, at last, Apollo felt the creature shudder. Slowly its head shrank to the ground. Its long body relaxed. There was only one last hiss, like a sigh, and Python was dead. By this great deed Apollo became Oracle, the god of Delphini. There, below the cliff of shining rocks, men made a temple for the god. There, in their need, they came to ask his help. And through the priests of the temple, Apollo spoke to them. He gave advice for those who needed advice, comfort for those who needed comfort, warning for those who needed warning. And always, the words of Apollo were wise and just, so different from the words that Python had spoken with its evil forked tongue.